Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to our weekly DSS break. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're here live every week to talk about data science experiences with data science leaders in a 15-minute break. I'm Anna Anderson, founder of Formula to Buy, the home of Data Science Salon, and I'm streaming live here from our HQ located in the heart of Miami, right next to the Design District. And today I'm really excited to welcome my guest. Vaibhav Verdhan, analytics leader at AstraZeneca, and Vaibhav is an experienced data science leader in the healthcare industry, and he currently manages the efforts to deploy and maintain decision support capabilities that leverage advanced analytics at AstraZeneca. Vaibhav is presenting actually on the virtual track of our upcoming DSS Hybrid Miami event, which we have coming up next week. And today he's going to give us a little sneak preview, chat a little bit about the role of computer vision in healthcare and his favorite technologies. Welcome, Vaibhav, and I'm really happy to have you here with us today. And thank you so much for joining the DSS break.
Thank
Maybe,
you, Anna. Thank you very much.
awesome. Maybe you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got into where you are today.
Thank you. And welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you're based at. About myself, I'm a director at AstraZeneca UK. I'm in London. And what it means is that I look after the commercial analytics for AstraZeneca brands across the geographies of Europe, the six primary markets we have, and in the Latin America. Prior to that, I was with Johnson& Johnson Vision Care, Ireland. Over there, I was a principal data scientist, again into the machine learning and AI space. And before that, I was again in the UK working for consulting companies. So my last client was GSK, British Gas, Kantar Media, Landmark Group. So in my career, I have worked for retailers, telecom operators, utilities, and pharma companies for machine learning and AI space. Now, to coming to your question, Anna, how I ended up over here. To be honest, when I started my career, it was not planned. It was not even called machine learning. If I remember correctly, it was the hype around machine learning or AI was not there. It was purely data analysis or statistical analysis, as somebody would call it. But I think in the last 8 to 9 years, I think probably from 2011, 2012 onwards, you know, the the machines got faster, the data got richer, the technology, it took that giant leap with cloud coming into picture, and the the focus shifted to data,
Right.
and with that data science came into picture. If you remember, Hadoop was introduced, big data came on boarded. So somehow one point led to other, and then I realized that okay, what I was doing as data analysis, that actually has a meaning now. That actually
Right.
is data science. And from there to machine learning, and then Keras, Keras TensorFlow and open source packages were launched, so that further enhanced the capabilities around the globe for deep learning networks. So that's how the journey continued for me. But still,
No,
still
that's
there's a lot to learn. I know only a drop in the entire ocean. Lot to learn.
Yeah, no, and I like how you gave like a nice little overview of the how the industry kind of moved forward, right? From like just analytics to
Yes.
machine learning and AI, data science, all of that stuff that we talk about now, right? And I think as we're talking about that, what do you find particularly interesting today, in applying data science to healthcare that you didn't see when you first started your career?
uh, so at that point of time, if I go back, in the last decade or last decade, I when I started my career, so data was there, but it was not in the current shape and form, or the focus and the emphasis on data science was non-existent, I would say. At currently currently, yes, the focus has gained. It is now the organizations, the stakeholders, the leaders, they want to focus on data science, but at the same time, it is not up to the mark still. But yes, what I feel really passionate about data science and machine learning is because it helps us to create really sophisticated solutions which can give a direction to the stakeholders, which will allow them to take much more meaningful decisions. And the cliche term is data driven decisions, right? So to maybe optimize the sales force, to reduce the cost, or to uh, optimize the supply chain or pricing, computer vision or uh, solutions like audio analysis or computer vision or NLP, they are a step ahead from there. So there's
Mhm.
a big branch of, in fact, I think the most of the analysis is still done on structured data.
Right.
The unstructured data like images or text or audio files or videos, they still contribute maybe less than 5%, if I'm not wrong, of the entire analysis. Still a long way to go. Industry still has a long way to go, but particularly about healthcare, it allows us to directly impact the lives of the customers, of the patients, of nurses, of doctors, of pharmacists, of hospitals, and allow us to make that difference in the final journey. R&D is one part. R&D is directly for the drug discoveries and uh, launching new indicators. Commercial is a separate part, or supply chain is a separate part, but ultimately the goal is to make the patients happy, to make a difference in their lives.
Right. Yeah, no, and I guess that's really the bottom line, right? So it's making it, I mean, hopefully that's the bottom line and the whole story for these companies, right? And speaking about, that, things that you mentioned a little bit about, maybe you could talk about what your responsibilities are at AstraZeneca, because I'm sure there's a lot going on there, especially now.
Okay, so like I said earlier, I look after the commercial analytics sites at AstraZeneca. So we have our own brands for different diseases, be it diabetes or
Mhm.
heart problems, or neurological problems. So how do you optimize the marketing spend to get the maximum out of your to maximize the ROI, or to
Mhm.
maximize the revenue? How do you enhance the engagement with your customers? And customers over here are healthcare professionals, GPs or specialists. So
Right.
how do you engage with them better? How do you understand the markets better? And how can you empower the sales, promotions, and marketing and branding teams to take better data driven decisions by maybe uh, creating personas of customers, by slicing, dicing, and clustering the geographies,
Right.
by creating predictive models,
Hmm.
by implementing NLP on the content to tag it better. Because again, pharma industry is unlike retail or telecom. It is much more regulated industry. It is
Right.
driven by the regulations that you cannot do that, you can do that. You cannot directly go to a GP and say that, hey man, can you prescribe my drug? You cannot do that. That's not allowed. Yeah. So it has to be driven strategically, and that is why data plays a much more crucial role over there. So I lead those uh, those activities, those efforts across the European markets of the major European markets, the usual suspects of Germany, France, Italy, UK, Portugal, then in the Latin America, Brazil, Mexico, and then the Canadian market. So I look after these commercial data science and commercial machine learning for our brands.
Cool. No, thanks. And thanks for going over some of the use cases as well as you answered that question. What are some of the challenges that you see when implementing computer vision solutions in healthcare? I know that you mentioned like regulations. What are some of the
Yeah.
other things that might
you know
be?
the most, and in fact that is applicable to any other use case also, not only computer vision and not only healthcare.
Hmm.
First of all, defining a business problem, a precise, measurable, achievable business problem, it is a big challenge.
Hmm.
Every business would like to increase the revenue, every business would like to decrease the cost, every business would like to reduce the wastages and optimize the sales force, optimize their marketing teams, optimize the supply chain, right? But I cannot have a target of reducing the cost by by 50% the next 2 months. That's not possible, and that's not the purpose of data science. Also, it's not possible to do that. Data science cannot do that. So creating having a business problem at hand which is measurable, achievable, and which can be stated in a crisp manner, that is the first challenge that we face across industry. Now then comes the data. So if I focus on the computer vision side of things, for computer vision you need obviously images, and images, they come in various sizes, and their attribute or their aspect ratios are different. So let's say if I want to work on any, let's say take a very simple example of identifying cats versus dogs, right? That is a cliched use case. So over there you will get images in all the shapes and sizes and forms and colors and backgrounds. Now once you talk about healthcare industry, where it is not cats and dogs, it is much more consumer driven. So if you want to identify the presence of cancerous tumors versus benign tumors, right? So
Right.
over there, you should have thousands of images of both the classes, which is the first challenge. Having number of data sets, number of images, and good quality images, which are representative of the problem.
Right.
And that's not all. Even once you have that, how do you store it? Where do you store it? Because that data set will be in TBs. Okay, how will you process that? You will need good quality GPUs to process that. I cannot create that model on my system. I need good quality virtual machines to create and GPUs to train let's say a CNN based algorithm over there. I want to create, let's say, an inception network over there, so that CNN model will require that horsepower to train my model. And how will you deploy that? So basically, having business problem is one part, but if I focus on computer vision, having the data set which is representative and complete, and the processing power, these are the two major challenges that we face.
Mhm.
The last bit will be, once you have developed the model, how do you deploy that? How do you implement that in the industry? Because many times it is seen that the model is created, but when rubber hits the road, when it comes to actual deployment, it is a different ball game, and then the model is not giving you the desired results. So all the efforts go in vain. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That was a really good overview. And we're really excited about your talk
Yeah.
next week. And we've dropped a link to register. And so you can get more information in the chat. And it's a free event. So I hope all of you guys can join us and also in person next Thursday as well. And thanks again, Vehab, for providing such a good, thorough overview of what's going on in your industry. And it was such a pleasure to have you here today. So
Okay.
I hope that all of you also have a great rest of the week. And we look forward to seeing you next week at the actual event.
Okay.
So
Thank you. Thank you all. Take care.
bye.
Bye.